But it's the one thing that has stuck in my craw the most about this game, and it was after the game. So let's go ahead and when you get a chance there, Nick, switch your page. So here is the full soundbite. Well, I say full. I mean, his answers tend to be a little bit longer.
Yeah.
It's just the way he is. I'm not being critical.
Yeah.
But I clipped out the most important part of the answer, which led to, well, dare I say, the punchline.
I just think that I thought they had our number today. And again, that's the part that really infuriates me as the head coach. People are going to point at this person, everything should be pointed right at me. I usually can see things coming. And I'll tell you right now, I did not see this coming. And so credit to them. I don't want to take anything away from them. They're an excellent football team. But yeah, I did not see this coming.
And to me, that is a major red flag. And here's why. And I shared the anecdote earlier, the Arizona State game, 1996. Coaches riding up the elevator. Someone who I know very well was there. Trust him implicitly. And basically the coaches said, yeah, we did not practice well this week. We're not ready for this game. And then they went out and proceeded to get thumped.
Yeah. So last time they were shut out.
And I thought, man, coaches know. Or at least they should. And when I hear that, first off, to some degree,
I did not see this coming.
Sometimes in these press conferences, coaches are out there, they're trying to deflect away from the players, right? They're trying, Well,
yeah, Rhule talked about that today, right? Where he
make this about me.
Yeah, where he even said, like, I hate when coaches say, put this on me.
Right.
But you're right. They do. A good coach is going to try to,
sure,
especially in college football, they're going to try to aim
because
direct
it's clear
arrows at me.
Yes, it's clear that Nebraska's got some, issues between the ears that he is still working on, which he also talked about today.
Yeah.
But that quote, I didn't see this coming. That's not something that you use as a method of deflecting, because when you say that, it implies, in my opinion, one or more of the following.
Okay.
You either don't see the faults in your own program,
which is problematic.
You fail to see the differences in good preparation versus bad preparation.
Also problematic.
You either misread, underestimated, or disrespected your opponent in scouting and preparation.
Yeah, that wouldn't be good.
You're ill-prepared for what your opponent does well and what weaknesses you may have. Or you don't have a good pulse you don't have the pulse of your team. Yeah. You don't understand, or you don't have a good feel for what your team is.
And it's funny,
and that's why when I heard that, it was like, wow.
Yeah.
That is some dangerous territory.
Of all of the what did you just give? 5? Was that 5?
Yeah, that was 5.
The last one, honestly, might be the easiest to stomach, though none of them are, or maybe the most palatable. None of them are great, right? But at least with that one, there's like an excuse of, you thought more about your team and you expected something different. None of them are great options, though. And I don't know which one. I don't know which of the options was this one.
And I don't. It could be one. It could be several. I don't know what it is. And by the way, I'm also not saying that because, like this anecdote from the Arizona State game, that was not said in front of an open mic.
No, and it was said behind the scenes.
It was said behind the scenes. And listen, I'm not saying Matt Rhule should have said, yeah, we didn't have a great week of practice. I wasn't really happy with how we prepared in the bye week. I'm not asking him to do that. I'm just asking him not to say this.
I did not see this coming.
So in a way, you'd keep that to yourself. Keep that to yourself. Don't put it into a hot microphone.
It just does not make sense. Now, Rhule did, because I'm not the first person to bring this up. And apparently, Rhule had people out there listening. So this is from today, Nick. You've got the quote. Here was Matt Rhule addressing that same subject.
I do a good job in season of just staying very locked in and not reading stuff and listening to stuff. But, Keith kind of said, like, hey, he said to me, hey, your statement of I didn't see this coming gained traction. To which I would say, and I'm just going to get your point, if I saw this coming, then you guys should all be very nervous. Like, I thought we were going to play well, and I thought we had a great bye week. And we legitimately, Sam, I'm telling you, we legitimately, worked on these things over and over. Now, sometimes, No one's going to want to hear this. Sometimes maybe it'll show up this week. Maybe it'll show up the next week. But like, these are not things we haven't done all year, all spring. We got to that moment and, just didn't do the things I know we're capable of doing. And so I hate when coaches walk in after a game and say, hey, that's on me. Like, but I really felt that way because like, I know what we're capable of doing and we didn't do it.
But know you were capable of doing it against what? And again, maybe this all stems from when they were scouting Indiana, they didn't see it as clearly as maybe they should. That, oh wow, they really are good. It's just it just hit me very wrong. And that, so when we get to the subject a little bit later on, Josh, about confidence, that more than anything else, that more than the deficiency in run defense or whatever's going on with Dylan or the continuing, comedy routine that is special teams,
I did not see this coming.
Bothered me more than anything.
Well, how much do you think it's because you have seen something like this before, and it is another one of those, it's like a marker.
And it's just not, I'm not just talking about it from here. I've seen it with like the New York Jets. Sure. I've seen it with other organizations.
We've been watching sports long enough that we know what something is supposed to look like, and we know what something is not supposed to look like. Right. And what Saturday looked like was what you don't want it to look like.
No.
I'll be honest, man, because unlike you, I spent a lot of my time yesterday thinking about this game. And the thing that I keep asking myself is, because during the game I'm saying a lot of the issues are fixable in the sense of it will require changes to be made. They won't make those changes in the offseason, but it will require changes to be made, right? So like that was my in-game reaction. And then the game sat with me a little bit more on Saturday. And I talked about it with people. And I thought about it some more. And then I spent yesterday doing the same thing. And the question that I now find myself asking on Monday afternoon is, if in saying those things still from Saturday, am I making the same excuses that I made in 2015 and 2016, that I made in 2018 and 2019, that I made in 2004 and 2005, that I made in all of these seasons when something doesn't look right and you just know it doesn't look right, but and I know people...
And you're trying to talk yourself into, it's going to be fine.
It's going to be fine. And I know people are going to laugh at what I'm about to say next. I am generally a more optimistic person, at least when it comes to sports. I want to be proven wrong about somebody from a negative capacity before I then go into that direction. Again, listen to me in 2018 and 2019. You'll hear that over and over and over. I didn't have a radio show in 2008, 9, and 10, and I didn't have one in 04 and 05, and I guess I did in 2015 and 2016. Listen to me in those years. Listen to me in 2015. Listen to me in 2016. And so that is where I find myself as someone who does give grace and that does say it is a long process. But I do know that those words ring very hollow when I say you got to give the guy time when the coach on the other side of the field is in year one. I understand that I can't say that today, and I'm not going to say it today. I'm not going to say it's okay to lose by 49. It's a part of the plan. It's not. And Rhule essentially said the same thing. That a loss like Saturday is not a part of the plan. That doesn't mean that progress has to be linear, because it's not. Progress is not linear.
No.
It never has been, and it never will be. But that doesn't make Saturday morning and afternoon easy to swallow, because it shouldn't be. And so I don't know. To answer the question then that I posed to myself, I don't know what the answer is. I don't know if I am finding myself in a very similar loop, or if it's just I'm seeing the same signs and I just need to like, hey, chill out. This is different, or at the very least it can be different, because obviously it can be. It can be different.
Some responses, Matt, into the Equitable Bank inbox. Most disturbing thing to me is all these great coaches with 2 weeks to prepare and a team performance like that. Andy Reid's like 22-3 after a bye. They don't have to win, but geez, this is the performance. That's a red flag. There was, and I wonder what day I put it on, because Michael Severe, someone asked him about Nebraska's record, or Rhule's record, and Cignetti's record
after a bye,
after buys,
or idle.
So I'm scrolling here, so pardon me. I think I put it on this particular sheet. Boy, I had a lot of stuff on. Here it is. Cignetti off a bye, straight up.
Yeah.
8-1 since 2017.
Solid.
He was 6-1 at James Madison, had a loss to Louisville in 2022. Matt Rhule teams off a bye. 11 total games, 6-5. As a favorite, 6-1. As an underdog, 1-3. So Rhule's teams after a bye haven't been very good.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't been very good. So, I mean, to that, maybe, I wish maybe I could have quoted that last week.
Yeah, for sure.
And you always do this where you're like, man, you're always trying to find ways to say, well, I saw that coming or I saw that coming. I mean, we can do this all day, but it's not going to, at the end of the day, it's not going to do you any good to continue to reflect back. But there has been at least part of a trend. Sadly, though, there is another trend that needs to be addressed. And it goes back to the record against top 25 teams. And not so much that the record is now 2-21.
It's the performance in these games.
But check out the spread differential. Again, the difference between the end result and what the spread was. In Matt Rhule's years at Temple, his 4 years at Temple, while they only went 2-5 against ranked teams, their spread differential was nearly 11 points to the good.
So they were very much overperforming.
They were overperforming. At Baylor, went 0-11 against ranked teams. The spread differential was pretty much a push.
Yeah.
But so far against 5 ranked opponents at Nebraska, 0-5, the spread differential is 3 touchdowns per game. 3 touchdowns per game. That's the margin to the spread.
Yeah. So it's like bet against Nebraska, and not only are you going to win, but you're not going to be stressed. It's going to be easy the whole time for you.
I mean, if you bet Indiana, the game was covered by halftime, and if you had Indiana in the over, it was covered by the end of the third quarter.
Yeah, you were feeling great. Illinois game, a little more stressful, but at the very least, they were covering the entire game. Yeah,
but remember, Nebraska was favored by 9 points. That spread closed at 9.
Oh, that's right, it did. For some reason, I thought it closed at 7.
And so basically, Nebraska got reverse covered or close to it.
Text from the 402. Coaches misread their team all the time. Play well when they don't think they have prepared well and vice versa. If you don't realize this, then you are absolutely clueless about high-level sports. Now, this texter has been texting in a few things. Seems pretty frustrated with you in particular today.
Fine. Be frustrated. That's fine.
I definitely don't think that it is that normal, or it should be okay at the very least, given how Rhule talked about it both on Saturday and then today to follow up on it. I don't think that it's like oh yeah, but this happens all the time type situation.
Of course you can be surprised by things. Of course you can. But to be surprised to that level? I mean, that was an ass whooping.
Yeah.
That was not competitive.
No.
It was not competitive.
John emails in.
And a lot of the same problems that had propped up in previous regimes that were supposedly going to be fixed.
Yeah.
Propped back up.
Yeah, John emails in, Equitable Bank inbox. It is hard to give a coach time to get things figured out if the coach is not willing to make any changes. Nebraska's gotten worse each week. That means there are fundamental flaws in the program that had to be fixed. Along those lines, Scott tweets in, this was a type of performance tends to show that this isn't the guy. Coaches who are going to be long-term successful don't have games where they are not competitive. There's regression everywhere, and that isn't just a red flag. It's a siren. That was the other takeaway for me is the team does look worse. The team does look worse today than it did a month ago, let alone, the Colorado first half.
I mean,
that is inarguable.
I'm not going to give the answer because I need to think about it a little bit more, but ask yourself the question. Do they look better? Let's just say over the last 3 weeks. We won't just pick on Saturday, but let's just say, do they look better over the last 3 weeks now or the last 4 weeks of last season?
Do they look?
Compare, how have they looked? Well, we'll just go 4 for 4.
Yeah.
The last 4 weeks of this year. So you're talking Illinois, Purdue,
Rutgers,
and
then Indiana.
Versus the last 4 games of last season. Which team looks better?
it's a push. I don't know. I mean, neither look very good. Right? I guess that last year's did because they weren't getting stomped. You know,
they didn't get stomped, but they were a couple of mistakes away.
Yeah.
As I said, they were 63 plays away against Indiana on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
That's how many plays Indiana ran. So, again, that's why I hate losses. Games like this, because it makes you question everything.
It does. It does.
It makes you question everything. But there are some other areas that had been trending in this direction where you're like, it kind of shines more of a light on them. The gross deficiency in the run game, the horrific special teams. And then we got a question about the wide receivers.
Yeah, and they've been trending in this way throughout the year, in that like they can't get open and they can't get separation, and then when nothing is going right, it magnifies it. And then for the first time, you're really, you're starting to put the quarterback then under a magnifying glass and say, this is going on now for a month, and that he hasn't looked very good in any of these games lately. He has not looked good in any of these games lately.
And I don't want to. I'm not trying to build any kind of a case that it's probably about time that we get the U-Hauls out.
No, but so I am that way too. So do not hear any of this and think that. But this is what I was kind of getting at. Jordan says Saturday for me was like 2019 Colorado for Josh, where I walk away thinking this isn't going to work. And if somebody feels that way, I'm certainly not going to stop you. I think you have it very much in your right to feel that way. Saturday's game for me is about asking those big picture questions.
Absolutely.
It's about wondering where were they wrong and where was I wrong in thinking that they wouldn't be wrong? Because, I'm happy for Hurt Husker fan and others that said that he said he picked 42 or 52-14. More power to you. I didn't see that coming to that degree.
No, I did not.
And so it's a performance that makes me wonder, how do they get it fixed? Can they get it fixed? And look, I mean, I'll keep saying it until I'm blue in the face. Going into the offseason, it is going to have to be we don't have the names of the coaches up there anymore. But if there was, I'd go up and circle a few of those names right now. You just mentioned one position group, wide receiver, certainly. You know that I don't like the OC. Special team, I mean, I feel like that it would be inexcusable not to do something there.
The what?
My bad. And
yes,
offensive line.
I'm no longer angry at the special teams. It's gone beyond that.
Mm-hmm.
It's now
disappointed.
No, it's a comedy act. It's now funny.
Oh, it's like when I watch the Rockies blow it how they do.
No,
I still, by the way, have not seen the play at the 1 yard line off the kickoff. I was upstairs getting something to drink.
You never rewatched it?
I came downstairs and
I can pull it up for you.
No, I don't need to see it.
You don't want to see it?
No, I don't need to see it. Because I want it in my mind to look as I picture it in my mind, and that is high comedy.
It is fun to think about when you don't know exactly what it is.